time to take a journey, to find your courage, break through your limits, and master your destiny. It's time for Ken D. Foster's Voices of Courage. Ken brings you some of the most courageous people on the planet that will inspire greatness within you and change your life for the better. It's time to see the unseeable, know the unknowable, and do the impossible. It's time for Voices of Courage. And here's your host, Ken D. Foster.
Well, hello and welcome, everybody. This is Ken D. Foster. I have a question for you. Are you ready to have more energy, passion, more happiness? Hoping you're saying yes. Most of us would like that in our lives. Well, listen, I've written a new book called The Courage to Change Everything. It's not only a book, it's a process to reprogram your thinking and transform every part of your business and life. It's based on profound wisdom from the East and cutting-edge mind-body science from the West. And it's designed for you to read it just 10 minutes a day to start to drip that wisdom, that courage, that power, that passion on your mind. You know, you're going to discover how to expand what's possible, increase your courage, have more energy, and honestly, change your destiny. So I hope you'll check it out at couragetochange.us. Again, couragetochange.us. Well, today my show is called The Courage to Die for Your Dreams. You know, in 2017, I was in Penticton, British Columbia, and I was at an event called the ITU World Championship. It was the largest triathlon event in the world. There were 3,500 athletes there. I was representing Team USA in my division, and I was ready at the starting line, ready to take off. And I remember thinking, all the training and the time, the persistence and the effort to get to that dream. And sure enough, the whistle rang and all these athletes ran into the water, and we had 2 miles ahead of us for the first part of my event. And then after that, I biked for 75 miles as fast as I could go. And when I got done, I remember thinking, what a great accomplishment this was. Well, little did I know what was going to happen after that. You see, I ended up being in the top 10 in the world in my division. And about a month later, I was put on Triathlon magazine with me on my bike with my Team USA jersey riding in that triathlon. See, the universe rewards results, and it rewards courage, and it rewards hard effort. And so for you that are listening today, I'm telling you that story for only one reason. For you, don't let your dreams die. I had that dream for many years. And the way I got that dream is I surrounded myself with people that were a lot smarter than me. I woke up and did whatever I needed to do. You know, I woke up at 5 in the morning, 3-4 times a week for several years. You know, I did what it took. And that's how that dream came about. You know, I think what stops most people from succeeding is their lack of courage. There's a part in you that you're afraid to succeed. Even though it might not be in the conscious level, it's on the subconscious level. And if that fear is driving your life, then what's going to happen is you're not going to be able to show up in a way that you want. Your dreams are going to die. The other part that stops us is passion. We have to connect with our passion, our purpose. I had a purpose for that dream. That purpose was to live a life, a complete life of being pain-free, to being healthy, to being vital. You see, I grew up in a family where we had obesity going on. We had alcoholism going on. We had people that weren't taking care of their bodies. This is the family I grew up in. And you know what? A lot of families teach us what to do and what not to do. Loving, caring, loving people, generous people, but they didn't take care of their physical health. And I thought, you know, that's not going to be me. I'm going to take care of my health throughout my whole life. And my purpose was really seated in that place of, yes, I want to have healthy, vitality, and no pain. And I was committed to that. So I'm telling you this because I'm wondering if you have what I had. Well, of course you do. You have willpower. You have drive. You have purpose. You have passion. Now, all you got to do is put them together, right? All of us are born with greatness. There's nobody in this world that doesn't have greatness within them. You know, greatness isn't something that we wake up one morning and all of a sudden, oh yeah, I've created great things in my life. No, it really just takes persistence. At least that's what it did for me. Every single day, taking one step. You know, some days it's cloudy, it's rainy, there's storms. But what I know is there's always blue sky after the storm. And in many storms, there's rainbows. So I'm looking for the rainbows. I'm looking for the blue skies. You know, for me, I want my life to have meaning and purpose. I want to be able to contribute. When I step back at 90 or 100, I'm in my rocking chair looking back at my life. I want to look back and go, you know what? I didn't waste my life. I didn't waste my time. I did what I needed to do to contribute, to help others, to help my family succeed, to help my community succeed, to help make people that came into my lives better. Their lives became better because they knew me. And, you know, I'm not the be-all or end-all guy. You know, I try to be humble about this. And I think that's got me so far because so many people want to be influencers. They want to succeed. They want to have it all. But I don't think you can have it all unless you have a really good relationship with yourself, first of all, and be able to look at yourself and realize that there are areas that we all need to grow. You know, I started on this path a little later in life. I was 42 when I really made the commitment to step up and to change my life. And I had to go through a lot of pain and suffering and challenges to get where I am today. But I didn't stop. I kept going. And you have that in you. You can keep going no matter what's going on in your life. You know, the road to mediocrity is paved with, I wish I could have done this. I should have done this. I could have done this, right? But so what you could have, would have, or should have done? It's really about what you're doing today. And, you know, I remember some of the fears that I had to overcome. One of the fears I had to overcome along this path was the fear of falling. Fear of falling. Now, that's kind of interesting, but when I was up on, I remember being in Las Vegas, up in the dam there, a Boulder Dam, and looking down and just feeling this energy. And I didn't even want to go to the edge because I felt like I'd fall off. Well, one day I was in the Painted Desert, and I was driving through that, and I happened to see a hill where I could drive up to, and I could look over the whole Painted Desert, and it was beautiful. I got up there and I realized that there was a cliff that was maybe 25 feet from me, but I didn't want to get close to that cliff because that fear of falling. But then something said to me, you know what, go towards that cliff. Now, that was not the voice of fear. That was the voice of courage telling me to move into my fears. And I got closer to that cliff. I got on my hands and knees and I started to crawl to the edge. And I thought to myself, I'm going to overcome this fear. And I remember sweating and shaking as I put my feet over the edge of this cliff. And there's nobody out there, man. I don't know if I would have fallen that 300-foot drop, I don't think anybody would have found me for days, weeks, or months because it was just me and that cliff. But I sat there shaking for maybe 10, 15 minutes and praying that this will move past me. And it did. All of a sudden, I had a sense of peace around me, and I was able to stand up, turn my back to the cliff, and walk away. Never to have the fear of heights or falling again in my life. You know, that's what it took for me to do it. So my point of this is, what is there for you right now? Is there a challenge? Is there something that you need to overcome? Well, if you're saying yes, there is, I have a tool to help you with that. I wrote a book. It's called The Courage to Change Everything. You've probably heard me talk about it several times on the show. Of course, I started out with this. But, that book really will help you to change your thinking. And if we change our thinking and then we take daily actions around it, life gets better and better. So I encourage you to check it out at couragetochange.us, couragetochange.us. Today I look at fear, and fear for me is I don't want to have fear in my life. Any of you want to have fear in your life? I sure don't. I want to have courage. And so I ask the question every day, if I was courageous, what would I do today? And I get the answers. Sometimes it's a simple answer. Well, I'll go apologize to somebody I owe an apology to. Or sometimes it's something big. Well, I'm going to go out and I'm going to contact somebody that's a highly influential individual and ask them to put my book out into their sphere of influence. So, but whatever it is, every day is the day to build greatness. And today is no exception. So if you're in a place in your life today that you want to step into more greatness, more courage, then you have to reprogram your thinking. You have to rethink what you've been thinking. And how do you know if you're living a mediocre life? Well, I would say this. You're living a mediocre life if you're not getting the results that you want in your life. So look in your relationship. You're getting the results you want there. Look in your health. Look at your finances. Look at your body, your shape, right? Look at the areas and just ask, hey, am I running at a level 10 or am I playing at a level 2 or 3? If you're playing at level 2 or 3, take it to a 4 or 5, then take it to a 6, 7, then take it to an 8, 9, and then to a 10. Greatness is built one day at a time and one step at a time. And if you step into your greatness, what's going to happen is your life's going to get better and better. You're going to end up contributing in ways that you never thought possible. I know I sure have. And people are going to look at you and they're going to say, how did you become who you are? You say, well, I did it one day and one step at a time. All right. I'll be right back with my next segment, and hope you're enjoying this show. If you want to find the new book, just go to couragetochange.us.
We'll be back with more Voices of Courage with Ken D. Foster. Learn more about Ken, how to be a guest on the show, and sponsorship opportunities by visiting voicesofcourage.us.
You know you have it, the potential for a more rewarding life, a life that matters. But how do you get there? The answer is in Ken D. Foster's best-selling book, The Courage to Change Everything, Daily Strategies and Essential Wisdom to Awaken Your Inner Genius. With this powerful 365-day guide, your future is in your hands. Imagine having a detailed roadmap to reprogram your brain daily with astute wisdom, courageous strategies, and time-tested wealth principles. You will redefine what is possible for you, unlock your potential, and bring out your best to take your relationships, finances, and life to a new level. Get your life-transforming copy of Ken D. Foster's The Courage to Change Everything by going to couragetochange.us. Quite frankly, there is no other book like this. Imagine what your life would be like if you had at your fingertips the success principles to create the life you've always wanted. Are you ready to live your dream? Go to couragetochange.us. That's couragetochange.us.
Where do you turn when a woman you love is suffering from addiction, anxiety, or depression? What can you do when her struggle is tearing you apart? There's a unique program exclusively for women that offers sustainable recovery and transformation. Villa Kalima is located in a beautiful, peaceful resort-like setting in La Costa, California. Villa Kalima is a residential recovery program accepting only 6 women at a time for individualized treatment with proven clinical and holistic therapies for transforming the mind, body, and spirit, focusing on healing the cause, not temporarily masking symptoms. Villa Kalima is a licensed and accredited residential treatment center for women accepting health insurance policies with out-of-network benefits. Find out how you can help her begin her healing by calling Villa Kalima in La Costa at 760-814-8214, 760-814-8214, or visit villakalima.com.
We're back with Voices of Courage. And now your host, Ken D. Foster.
Well, welcome back. This is Ken D. Foster. Listen, I want to thank all of you for tuning into the show. If you're new to the show, get ready to see the unseeable, know the unknowable, and do the impossible. If you're enjoying the great content and the insights on our Voices of Courage show, then I encourage you to check out some of my affiliates, UK Health Radio, Biz Talk Radio, and Talk Radio New York City. Why do I recommend you check these out? Because all three networks are dedicated to empowering you to solve problems, uplift your spirit, and become the best version of yourself. So again, you can tune in at ukhealthradio.com, talkradio.nyc, and biztalkradio.com. I hope that you will do that. So today, our show is all about the courage to die for your dreams. And it all comes down to a state of consciousness, doesn't it? You know, I woke up this morning and I was feeling disempowered. I must have had a nightmare or something. I don't know. I woke up terrible and in a bad mood. And I laid there for a moment and I thought, I'm not going to have this kind of day. I'm going to have an amazing, brilliant day. And I started singing a song. And I started to uplift my spirit. And then I went out and I energized my body for a little bit. And I came back and I meditated. And I listened to some inspirational music. I started my day in a way that I could change my state of consciousness into a powerful place so that I could have the day that I choose. I wasn't going to let my mind rule my day. I wasn't going to let myself start out in a place where I'm feeling dragging, tired, worn out. I want to start out with my mind on fire, telling myself I'm alert, I'm awake, I'm alive. And so if you're in a place that you are feeling less than 100%, how are you going to do your dream? You're probably not going to. In fact, it's probably not going to generate any kind of success in your life unless you have taken hold of your consciousness. You know, remember this, we all have thoughts, right? But they're just thoughts. So if you have a negative thought, then why not choose to just notice it and say to that thought, like, well, okay, thanks for being here, but next. I would say next, and then focus on thoughts that will empower you. This is how I create success in my life. This is how you can create success in your life. This is how we all create success. We use our mind. Our mind is the most powerful machine and tool that we have to really generate the life of our dreams. So a lot of us are on autopilot. You're on autopilot with your emotions, with your habits, and with your choices. What do I mean by autopilot with emotions? Somebody says something to you and you react a certain way, and you've been reacting that way forever. And if that is the case, it's really important to notice the thoughts below that, the beliefs that are driving that reaction. You know, emotions can stick with us for days, weeks, months, or years if we don't let them flow through us. Have you ever had somebody say something to you and you replay that in your head over and over again? Well, I sure have. Until I become conscious of it, I go, wait a second, that person's running free space in my head. I'm not giving them any more time in my head. I'm letting go of this and I forgive them, move on, and let go. Everybody makes mistakes in life. I make tons of mistakes, but I learn from them constantly. And one of the things I've learned is that we need to master our minds to master our emotions. Same thing with our habits. Most people are running on habits that are disempowering them. You know, for instance, I used to have a habit of anytime it was cold outside or it was cloudy outside, I wouldn't go out and exercise. I'd go, oh, no, I can't do that. It's too cold, too cloudy. I don't want to do that. And start rationalizing why I didn't want to do that. But what was happening for me is I wasn't constantly achieving my goal. And at the time, I wanted to be a triathlon, right? I want to be a triathlete. So how do you do that if you're going to be kind of wussy around weather? So I had to change my mind, to change my habit. And the same thing around our choices. Choices, we're all making choices all the time. But are we making choices that empower us on a consistent basis? Or are we making choices that disempower us on a consistent basis? So that's where introspection comes in. At the end of the day, every single day for me, I have a success habit of looking at what worked, what didn't work, and where can I improve tomorrow. If you form those kind of habits, what happens is your dreams start to manifest. You know, most people don't live up to their potential because they have a habit of being afraid. They're not really aware that they're afraid. But what happens is that they have a big dream. Listen, your big dream it hasn't been given to me or anybody else. It's your big dream. And we need to play big on those dreams. And a lot of people get a big dream given to them. They have an insight, I really like to do this. And then what happens? The fears are there. And they don't manifest that dream because they're afraid that something's going to stop them, or they'll never be enough, or they're not enough. But how can you ever be enough unless you try? You can't. You have to move into that place, and you have to find your success stoppers. What are those success stoppers? Those are beliefs, choices, and habits that are stopping you from being all you can be. And, I encourage you to just take some moments today to go, you know what? I'm not going to let anything stop my success. Whatever that is, I'm gonna ignite a fire in my belly to move past that. You can change your hair, you can change your spouse, you can change your religion, you can change your house. But if you don't change your mind, nothing's going to change. If you want to acquire something, if you want to have a better life, you have to change yourself. There's no way around it. That's what this show is all about. I bring on guests that have incredible stories so that you can understand how they've changed so that you can change. In fact, I do a section called the Insights section of this. After most shows, I record guests to take them on a deep dive into their minds so that you, my listener, can listen to the beliefs that that's driving them, and you can model those beliefs. You can find that at couragetochange.us. couragetochange.us, and all our recordings up there, and our Insights section is up there too. But if you want to acquire something and have something better, like I said, you have to change yourself. And the only way we change ourselves is really we have to change what we're focusing on. We have to change our mindsets. We have to change our attitudes. And we have to change our actions. And if you're willing to do that, then anything is possible for you. You can step into your true self, your greatest self. You can do anything you want to do, but you have to move past those fears. So fear is what? False evidence appearing real. We've all heard that. Face everything and recover. We've all heard that. But for you, fears, for me, let me just tell you about my fears. The opposite of fear is courage. And if you develop your courage, you can overcome any fear. And I don't know about you, but when I was younger, I don't want to have any fears. I was pretty fearless. But also reckless. So we don't want to be, reckless with our fears because we can get hurt. But what we want to do is we want to develop courage with wisdom. And courage with wisdom is an unstoppable force. So the wisdom is developed for me and by most people that are influencers through meditation, calming the mind, tuning into themselves, finding out what's working, what's not working through a process of letting go and surrendering to this thing that's much greater than all of us. So if you want to find out a little bit more about that, meditation, I have some free meditations on my site at kendfoster.com. You can go to kendfoster.com and you can get those meditations. And they'll help you. There's a place there that I have the science and meditation information that gives you articles from MIT and Harvard about what meditation does for our minds. And I also have some instruction there on how to meditate. There's so many people that have so many ways so many ways they call meditation, but I use something called stillness meditation, where we go very deep and we still our mind. We're not doing mindful meditations or that type of thing, because I found that those are the most effective in getting the insights and developing intuition and getting what we need to take our lives to the next level. So I hope you'll check it out. Again, it's kendfoster.com. Click on the button that says resources, and there's some information on meditation that'll help you. So again, if you don't find your courage and develop your courage, you're going to lose your passion and you're going to lose your dreams and you're going to put those dreams on hold. Courage is so important for all of us, which is why I wrote that book, The Courage to Change Everything, Daily Strategies and Essential Wisdom to Awaken Your Inner Genius. I believe this, no matter what level of achievement, if you submerge your mind into daily astute wisdom, courageous strategies, and that's the wealth principles, you're going to redefine what's possible for you. In fact, you're going to attain your natural state of greatness. That's what the book's about. I hope you'll check it out, and you can get it at couragetochange.us. Again, couragetochange.us. Okay, I hope you're getting some pieces out of this. Now, listen, I have a beautiful soul coming on in the next segment. Her name is Teresa, and her last name is, let's see if I can get it for you here. It is de Grosbois. It's French. She's going to be talking about influence. She's written a book all about influence and how to connect with influencers, how to become an influencer, what not to do when you're trying to connect with an influencer. Why is this all important? Because listen, whoever you surround yourself with is going to make high impact on your life. You're going to either surround yourself with people that are taking your life to the next level and they're taking their lives to the next level, or you're going to surround yourself with people that are mediocre and that are everything staying the same. Choice is yours. Which one do you want to surround yourself with? Well, she's going to talk about that and whole much more in the next segment. So stay tuned. I'll be right back.
We'll be back with more Voices of Courage with Ken D. Foster. Learn more about Ken, how to be a guest on the show, and sponsorship opportunities by visiting voicesofcourage.us.
If you, your company, or organization is out to change the world and you need a team that produces results to take your message to the next level, Wasabi Publicity is the perfect fit. Recognized by PR Week and Good Morning America for its innovative business practices, Wasabi Publicity works with companies and individuals committed to doing good in the world. Whether it's creating an engaging website, building a passionate social media tribe, or connecting their clients with top media influencers like Good Morning America, the New York Times, and Oprah. Everything they do is instilled with passion, impact, and brilliance. If you're an author, speaker, or organization committed to changing the world, and you need a partner to support you with PR, your website, or social media, go to wasabipublicity.com. That's wasabipublicity.com to schedule a call with Wasabi CEO Drew Gerber.
The most talented athletes in the world rely on a coach to get better, and the most successful business people do the same.
I have found working with Ken D. Foster to be an extraordinary experience. He helped me to expand my vision, increase profits, and showed me the way to have more fulfillment and success in my life.
Ken D. Foster is the coach's coach for business and life. He has been nicknamed the coach of the successful and wealthy.
Ken is an instrumental part of my team and the success I have generated over the past 12 months. Ken gave me the strategies to increase productivity, reduce turnover, and take my business to the next level.
So what's holding you back? Ken D. Foster is a master business coach with proven strategies to dramatically increase efficiency and productivity while maximizing individual development and fulfillment. Explore your possibilities. For a free consultation, log on to kendfoster.com. That's kendfoster.com. kendfoster.com.
We're back with Voices of Courage. And now your host, Ken D. Foster.
Hello and welcome back. This is Ken D. Foster. Today our show is called The Courage to Die for Your Dreams. I'm very blessed today to have my guest, Teresa Grosbois. And she is a #1 international best-selling author of Mass Influence, The Habits of the Highly Influential, which is now a bestseller in 7 countries. Teresa teaches marketing courses around the globe to business leaders and entrepreneurs on how to create successful word-of-mouth campaigns. She also heads the International Evolutionary Business Council, which is a global community of speakers and influencers dedicated to teaching the principles of success. Teresa, I am so happy to have you on my show today.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me, Ken.
That's great. Well, listen, let's talk about influence. Influence is such an important subject for any entrepreneur, for actually anybody in this world. When we think of influencers, what comes to mind for you, and what's the characteristics of an influencer?
It's such a great question. Influence is really just, do people know, like, and trust you enough to take action based on your word, right? So when we look at the highly influential, we're really looking for people who have a lot of people who know, like, and trust them enough to take action based on their word.
That's good. Okay. And so they may be an author, they may be a speaker, they may be a basketball player, a football player, or somebody like that is highly influential. How do people become influential?
Well, what it really comes down to is, are you the kind of people or the kind of person that people really trust, right? Because there's a distinction between fame and influence, right? Fame is just a lot of people know you. Influence is a lot of people know you and trust you enough that they will actually do stuff if you suggest it, right? And so really, to become influential, there's a set of habits and a set of skills that you can learn that actually are not that difficult. And when you learn them and you start behaving the way influential people behave, influence will naturally draw toward you.
That's interesting, because I think another quality of influencers that I've met is that they don't seem to let their dreams die. They go for their dreams no matter what.
Yeah, I would say that's one of the key habits of the highly influential, actually. They figure out what really, really matters to them, and they pursue it, and they pursue it tenaciously. And this is something a lot of people do. They end up frightened to pursue their own dreams. And I don't mean just your dream of having a really nice sports car. I mean your dreams of really making a difference in the world. Your dreams of really being a contribution. Your dreams of going for gold. Those big, outrageously ridiculous dreams are actually what drive your own influence. Because the more you're willing to risk, the more inspiring you are to others, the more they're willing to trust you and look at what you're up to in life and look at whether or not they take advice from you.
So, what I found too is in my own life, maybe you've experienced this, to be an influencer, we really have to get out of our own little thinking. We really have to start thinking in different ways. Those dreams, I think, results are a great way to test whether or not you are moving in the direction of your dreams. If you're getting mediocre results, if you don't, people are not really connecting with you, or people are kind of moving away from you, or you're in a place where you're not really in integrity with yourself. I think a lot of you're looking at those results going, wow, how can I improve this? It just seems to me like influencers, the ones I come across, all have mastered working with themselves, keeping an integrity with themselves, and in stepping into those dreams. What's your experience on that?
Yeah, very much so. And there's a lot of research on this topic now. And in fact, there's hundreds of books on leadership too that show, we are hardwired as human beings, unless you're a sociopath, because we all have inner dialogue. Sociopaths just have a different type of inner dialogue than the majority of people. But we all have inner dialogue, and we tend to self-sabotage ourselves the most when we think about stepping into our own leadership and stepping into our own dreams of really being a contribution to the world, right? So when you see good people out there that have succeeded as leaders, it means they are deeply committed to doing their own inner work to get past their own self-sabotage that would tend to have us frightened to step into that bigger game.
I like that. So you mentioned key habits. In your book, Mass Influence, what are some of the key habits that you talk about of influencers?
Well, the first one is you got to unlearn the sports you learned, first in the sandbox and then, coming up in business, right? For example, we learned in the sandbox that, I do this for you, you do that for me. We learned certain rules of fairness, right? And then, we became business professionals, and we learned things like in networking, it's a good idea to offer to buy a colleague coffee or lunch. And you only have to phone up the head of a Fortune 500 company, and faster than you can say gatekeeper, they will tell you, no, you cannot take this person to coffee or lunch, right? because there's a different set of rules that apply to the highly influential. And it all relates to the highly influential tend to value their time differently. They tend to do most of their conversations in a one-to-many fashion as opposed to one-on-one that we often get used to when we're first starting out in business, right? And that creates a different kind of sport. You know, it's almost like you've been playing basketball your whole life, and now you're suddenly stepping out of the hockey rink, and it's easy to end up in your butt and wonder why everybody's shooting pucks at you. But when you get related to how the game of hockey is played, it's really not that hard to make the paradigm shift.
That's really good. Okay, so let's talk about some of the rules to engage with the highly influential. I'm at a conference. I've just seen a speaker on stage. Let's say it's Robert Kiyosaki or Will Smith or you name it. They're on stage. Now I want to engage with that person. How do most people engage? And tell me what they probably shouldn't do, and then tell us how to engage with somebody that's influential.
Yeah, well, this is where you see the biggest mistake most people make when they're trying to engage with the highly influential, and that's what I'd affectionately call the premature ask. People always chuckle when I say that one. They're like, the premature what? But the premature ask is like the equivalent of you've just met the new neighbor, and they come over and the first thing they say is, wow, I love that stereo. I just saw you carrying up your walk. I'd love to borrow that sometime. And that's probably a moment you're rolling your eyes back in your head going, oh my God, who did I just move in next door to, right? But you see this happen to influential people all the time. Like, to use your analogy of you're at a business event, the speaker walks off stage and there's probably a lineup of people waiting there wanting to offer to buy them coffee or lunch or offer them a product sample or ask them for an endorsement for something, right? And all of those actions are way more about the person in line than they are about the person on stage. Like, you know, you might think offering to buy an influential person a coffee is the give because you're paying the $5 for your coffee. But I promise you an hour of their time is not worth $7, right? Because they're mostly dealing with people in a one-to-many capacity, right? So it's important to understand how influential people operate. Their currency is mostly influence. You want to get an influential person to notice you. You want to give them more influence, not ask them to do something for you. That's kind of the equivalent.
So can you give me an example of
apple pie?
Yeah.
Yes. So an example of that would be even just going up and asking them, what can I do to support you? Or what are you needing more of? You have influence somewhere. We all have social media. You could offer to shout out their stuff on social media. You could offer to introduce them to someone. It was a radio show or a podcast. If you've got a show of your own, yay, then you are moving into the realm of the influential, because then you can offer to interview them yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Anything that's going to get them more connected to influence is going to be meaningful to them, because that's what influential people do to build relationships.
Well, you know, one of the things you did with me is you, when we first met, the first thing you did was give. Hey, Ken, let me think. I know some people that you can get on their podcast shows. I know some other people that might have a podcast network that you can connect with. Let me help you. And the first thing I'm doing to you, I'm like, well, let me think of who can I introduce you to that might be part of the Evolutionary Business Council, that might be able to connect with you. So we're in that place of building rapport through a place of giving first. And I think that that's really the new business model. At least that's the model that I operate out of.
That's very true.
What say you?
Yeah, in fact, I love the term that was coined by Dr. Shonda Parent. She talks about people create these cycles of reciprocity. In other words, it's this cycle of giving and receiving. And when you look at the highly influential, they build cycles of reciprocity with each other largely by giving and receiving influence from each other. Right? So they might look for opportunities that would be a really good win for another influential person. This is not a scorekeeping thing. This is not a, I'll do this for you and you do that for me kind of arrangement, although those do occasionally happen amongst the influential.
Well, I want to talk about that.
Let me help you and trust.
I want to talk about that tit for tat stuff, because I think that can be a trap for anybody that's out there networking or trying to connect with the influential. Listen, I got to take a break. We'll be right back, and we'll take a deep dive into that tit for tat.
We'll be back with more Voices of Courage with Ken D. Foster. Learn more about Ken, how to be a guest on the show, and sponsorship opportunities by visiting voicesofcourage.us.
Where do you turn when a woman you love is suffering from addiction, anxiety, or depression? What can you do when her struggle is tearing you apart? There's a unique program exclusively for women that offers sustainable recovery and transformation. Villa Kalima is located in a beautiful, peaceful resort-like setting in La Costa, California. Villa Kalima is a residential recovery program accepting only 6 women at a time for individualized treatment with proven clinical and holistic therapies for transforming the mind, body, and spirit, focusing on healing the cause, not temporarily masking symptoms. Villa Kalima is a licensed and accredited residential treatment center for women accepting health insurance policies with out-of-network benefits. Find out how you can help her begin her healing by calling Villa Kalima in La Costa at 760-814-8214, 760-814-8214, or visit villakalima.com.
You know you have it, the potential for a more rewarding life, a life that matters. But how do you get there? The answer is in Ken D. Foster's best-selling book, The Courage to Change Everything, Daily Strategies and Essential Wisdom to Awaken Your Inner Genius. With this powerful 365-day guide, your future is in your hands. Imagine having a detailed roadmap to reprogram your brain daily with astute wisdom, courageous strategies, and time-tested wealth principles. You will redefine what is possible for you, unlock your potential, and bring out your best to take your relationships, finances, and life to a new level. Get your life-transforming copy of Ken D. Foster's The Courage to Change Everything by going to couragetochange.us. Quite frankly, there is no other book like this. Imagine what your life would be like if you had at your fingertips the success principles to create the life you've always wanted. Are you ready to live your dream? Go to couragetochange.us. That's couragetochange.us.
We're back with Voices of Courage. And now your host, Ken D. Foster.
Well, welcome back, everybody. This is Ken D. Foster. I'm so glad you came back to listen to this amazing segment. I'm on air with Teresa de Grosbois. I probably didn't get that 100% right.
Oh, it was
but
perfect.
Listen, Teresa is a #1 best-selling author of Mass Influence. Before I get to Teresa, I want to mention this. If you are a would-be author or you are somebody that wants to be an author, a few of my best-selling author friends and myself got together. Actually, I brought some book marketing strategists with me, too. We're going to be teaching you how to write, market, and launch your book to best-selling status at no cost to you. You can learn from the experts that I use and find out a lot more about this at www.couragetochange.us/invite. Again, couragetochange.us/invite. I hope you'll join me there. All right, we are talking about influence. Teresa, we are talking about that tit for tat. I'll do this for you if you do this for me. What are the problems with that model?
Well, it tends to work really, really well in what we consider like business marketing, or you might even call it referral marketing. So if you're dealing with clients one-on-one, if you're in a one-to-one paradigm, that's not an inappropriate way to think. It's an appropriate skill to have. It's sort of like in basketball, dribbling the ball is appropriate. But as soon as you move into the realm of the highly influential, they tend not to think that way. They tend to have an attitude of, hey, let's all just help each other and trust that it'll all work out in the wash. Because you have no idea what a speaking gig, if you help arrange that for another influential person, might do for their career. You have no idea what helping someone get an award might do for their career. How do you ever scorekeep that stuff? So they tend to take on an approach of let's just really help each other. And it's a very pay it forward type culture when you start to get in with the highly influential.
You know what, I make it a point when I'm talking with somebody that's highly influential to ask them what they're passionate about. It's that simple question, and most of the time they'll just go right into, well, you know what, I'm passionate about this nonprofit over here, or or I might ask them a question like, who's been most influential in your life? And then they'll talk to me about that, and that starts the conversation. Well, are you still in contact with that person? And we start to build relationship. I think rapport with influential people is the way to go, because again, everybody's asking them for something, right?
Yeah, passion's like the fuel in the wildfire, passion is what gets people really enrolled. Passion is what draws people to you, right? And so passion is a key ingredient of influence. And this is where I see a lot of people make mistakes, because a lot of us are afraid to step into our really big dreams, to be a really high contribution to the world, because this is where self-sabotage takes us out. And so we tend to shy away from our own dreams. And I mean those really big dreams, to really do something big. And yet those are the areas you'll be most passionate about. And the passion is actually what brings your influence.
So before you created the International Evolutionary Business Council, which I want to take a little dive into here, what were you afraid about? What were you afraid of? You had so resourceful, you had everything going on. Was there fear, or was it you just hadn't stepped into where you needed to step into to do that huge dream?
Yeah, the Evolutionary Business Council is kind of a cute story, because it had to happen by intervention. In fact, I had taken a number of colleagues up to the mountains right after a big event. I had a number of colleagues speaking at one of my events. And I found myself that evening saying, someday when I'm influential enough, I'd love to start a big organization to really help people step into their influence more powerfully. And they all started laughing. I'm like, what? I just said my huge dream and you're laughing at me? And I think it was Dan Gutierrez, who I think we know is one of the most influential Latino speakers in the world, turned to me in that moment. He said, Teresa, you were on stage 4 hours ago teaching people to notice when they say, someday I will, and inviting them to make that today. And so they all turned to me and said, when are you going to do that, Teresa? That was the moment the EBC was born. And in fact, I had to get it past my own fear of not being influential enough to start it, in order to take the first step.
That is so funny. Well, tell people about the Evolutionary Business Council. We're going to shorten it EBC, Evolutionary Business Council, EBC. So tell us about the EBC.
Well, the EBC is really just a group of change agents and difference makers in the world. They're all people who are running impact-based businesses aligned with creating a conscious, sustainable world. And we encourage our members to use education and education marketing as a primary means of getting the word out about what they do. And so our members just really support each other, both in getting the word out, but also in getting past our own fears of being highly successful, because self-sabotage is a huge challenge amongst leaders, and we need to be amongst other people who will push us to get past what's stopping us in business and in life.
I believe that's one principle that a lot of people that are new on the path don't apply, and that's the principle of really surrounding yourself with people of influence before you think you're influential. I think that's the key. Come in, surround yourself with these people, and that'll take you to the next level almost by itself, because like you said, in EBC, people are helping you. They're really uplifting you. If you want to be uplifted, they're there to uplift. Is that accurate?
It's very true. Our members range from people whose personal followings are in the millions. Like we have people who run syndicated television shows or radio shows with listenerships of 8 million and up, all the way down to people who are just starting out, new podcasters or people who are just trying to create grassroots initiatives around things. Because, we really do believe as an organization, you do become like the people you hang around with. And just like they say, you want to get wealthy, hang around other wealthy people. You want to get influential, hang around other people to whom influence really matters.
That's great. Do you have any amazing retreats coming up or anything happening for EBC that's going to be out there here soon?
We run 7 different retreats a year, so you can go to our website and find out what's coming up next under the events tab on ebcouncil.com. Our next one is actually going to be part of our Master Trainer series in North Carolina in March, and we've also got a deep dive retreat, which is, we gear those to more of our senior, more influential members, but others are also welcome at those retreats. We've got one of those coming up in Costa Rica in May.
Oh, that's going to be amazing. So, are you in Costa Rica right now?
I am, actually. We're starting a community down here, a number of members of the Evolutionary Business Council. So I'm here in beautiful Vista Mundo, where we're starting to build a community around a retreat center here.
Talk about big dreams. I just love you, Teresa. That's so cool that you are not only inspiring your others, but you're actually living it and doing it yourself on a consistent basis. I think that speaks highly for you as an influential leader in the world. So you have the microphone right now. Let's just, we're in 160 countries or so right now. What is your message to the world? What do you want people to know about you, about, what's going on in this world? Whatever you want. Go ahead. You got it.
I would say just give yourself permission to step into your dreams and give yourself permission to fail. In fact, give yourself permission to fail spectacularly, because you just might be the one the world's waiting for to create change in your community or the world at large, right? And I really do believe that we will look back on this time as one of the most significant evolutions in humanity that's ever happened, because it will be the period where mankind woke up and started really caring about building a better world.
They haven't labeled it yet, but it's it definitely is the age where more are awakening and becoming enlightened. In fact,
I have labeled it. I'm calling it the transformational 20s.
The transformational 20s. I love it.
We had the roaring 20s last century. This century, it's the transformational 20s. We are changing the world this decade, and it's happening, and it's happening fast.
That's great. Okay, well, Teresa, thank you so much for joining me, and it's ebcouncil.com if you want to check out the Evolutionary Business Council, ebcouncil.com. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your work in the world, and I look forward to connecting with you very soon. Take care.
Thanks so much for having me.
We'll be back with more Voices of Courage with Ken D. Foster. Learn more about Ken, how to be a guest on the show, and sponsorship opportunities by visiting voicesofcourage.us.
You know you have it, the potential for a more rewarding life, a life that matters. But how do you get there? The answer is in Ken D. Foster's best-selling book, The Courage to Change Everything, Daily Strategies and Essential Wisdom to Awaken Your Inner Genius. With this powerful 365-day guide, your future is in your hands. Imagine having a detailed roadmap to reprogram your brain daily with astute wisdom, courageous strategies, and time-tested wealth principles. You will redefine what is possible for you, unlock your potential, and bring out your best to take your relationships, finances, and life to a new level. Get your life-transforming copy of Ken D. Foster's The Courage to Change Everything by going to couragetochange.us. Quite frankly, there is no other book like this. Imagine what your life would be like if you had at your fingertips the success principles to create the life you've always wanted. Are you ready to live your dream? Go to couragetochange.us. That's couragetochange.us.
If you, your company, or organization is out to change the world and you need a team that produces results to take your message to the next level, Wasabi Publicity is the perfect fit. Recognized by PR Week and Good Morning America for its innovative business practices, Wasabi Publicity works with companies and individuals committed to doing good in the world. Whether it's creating an engaging website, building a passionate social media tribe, or connecting their clients with top media influencers like Good Morning America, the New York Times, and Oprah. Everything they do is instilled with passion, impact, and brilliance. If you're an author, speaker, or organization committed to changing the world, and you need a partner to support you with PR, your website, or social media, go to wasabipublicity.com. That's wasabipublicity.com to schedule a call with Wasabi CEO, Drew Gerber.
We're back with Voices of Courage. And now your host, Ken D. Foster.
Well, welcome back. This show today is called The Courage to Die for Your Dreams. And I mean that literally. You get to let go of anything that's stopping you from being all you can be to really take your life to the next level. That was a great talk that Teresa just gave us on influence. Now, I want to let you know, I wrote this book, The Courage to Change Everything, and this book will help you to raise your frequency, increase your wisdom, power, and passion daily. Each morning, read the guidance for the day, then find a quiet place to sit and meditate on the thoughts contained within. Strive to attain your mind, calm your mind, and tune into the deep meanings in the messages. Contemplate on how to apply the knowledge in your own life. Well, that's a little excerpt on the instructions of this book. This book will actually take you and help you to reprogram that thinking that's no longer working for you so that you can have the life that you want to live. Listen, if you are being run by limitations in your thinking, you're not going to accomplish your dreams. You're going to have dreams that are just like set on the shelf. They're never going to manifest. But you know, over the last 25 years, I've worked with entrepreneurs just like you, and business owners and relationship coaches and housewives, and I've worked with all kinds of people, right? People, multi-gazillionaire companies that I've worked in, started from scratch my own and created wealth beyond belief. But listen, all of it comes from deciding that you want to change. You know, you can't change anything if you can't change yourself. And here's the thing, the more you do change, the better you feel. And the more you change, the more satisfied you are in your life. And the more better you feel and the more satisfied, the more you change. So it's a great thing to get into, starting to learn to change. You can get that book at couragetochange.us, couragetochange.us. So my messages for this podcast and why I do this is because I want to bring you messages of hope. I want to bring you messages that will change the world, change, first of all, your world, because I know if you change your life, you will change the lives of many other. And, you know, if you want to reach your full potential, which I know everybody that's listening to this podcast wants to, it's not that hard. You just have to start to step into thinking in a different way. So when I wake up in the morning, as I talked in one of my other segments, you know, I want my spirit to be on fire. I want this bountiful, this abundant spirit that lives in me to come out and start my day that way. I also live from a place of the highest truth. I'm always seeking wisdom, understanding, and truth. And although we live in a world of relativity, there's light and dark, there's good and bad, there's up and down, there's left and right, there are ultimate truths. And what matters most to me is finding what's true for me so that my life will be filled with joy and happiness, wisdom, and success. So I also create environments that support me bringing me into the world, like my studio that you can see here. It's beautiful. It's clutter-free. It's an environment that is simple and yet elegant, and it works for me. It's high energy, high vibration. When I walk into this office, I'm ready to go. And there's another piece that I think when we're talking about success that we have to talk about, and that is we all need devotion, and we need to be devoted to whatever it is we're passionate about. Because if we don't have devotion, if we're not tuning into every day a little persistence, and I don't know about you, but that for me doesn't work for me. I remember when I started on this path, there were days that I would make all these commitments and I'd overcommit, and I'd stop committing because I didn't want to break the integrity of my word with myself or others. So that stopped me. And then I would undercommit. I'm like, what the heck? Now I don't have any commitments. Now life has stopped. So there's a balance there. And we have to find that balance for us if we're really to create success in our life. You know, we also need to have health and vitality. So many people have half the formula. They might exercise, but they're putting junk in their body. Or they have the other side of that. They're putting really good food in their bodies, but they don't exercise. You know, we need to not only exercise, but we need to eat good foods. Because why? We eat foods that energize us, that energize our body, energize our mind, so that we feel vital, so we have the energy to do what we want to do. If you don't have the energy to be all you're going to be, then how are you going to be all you're going to be? It's just not going to happen. So a lot of times we get health challenges and stuff. They stop us. But listen, I want to tell you this. If you are a person like me that looks at everything that's going on and takes full responsibility what's happening in your life, you start to realize that you have choice, you have power over these circumstances, whether it be in your body, whether it be in your mind, whether it be in your relationships, your health, your vitality, your finances, whatever it is, you have choice. And what I've found in any challenge I'm having is that as I set a goal, okay, this is important. Maybe you want to stop and write this down for a second. I set goals, and I set goals that are specific and written in I am formulas. I am generating $5,000 or more in the next week in my business, or I am generating new health and vitality this next month because I'm eating only great foods. So I'm really clear and specific. And then I get in tune with the purpose around that. I'm generating more finances in my business. Why? Well, it's going to support me taking a trip. It's going to support my employees. It's going to support my husband or my wife. It's going to support us, right? So I'm thinking about purpose. Then the next piece in this is I'm also willing to give or give up something. So ask yourself, what are you willing to give or give up to accomplish your dream, right? Dreams only die when we're not willing to give something, right? Then they die if we're not willing to give up some of our old ways of thinking and showing up and habits and choices we've made so that those dreams can manifest. And then after that, I'm taking action. I'm taking it, but not any action. I'm taking purposeful action. What are the highest action, the highest priorities that will take me towards that dream? And then after that, I'm assessing what worked, what didn't work, and what can I do better. So that little formula will help you to really step into the perfection of yourself to become more of who you are. You know, if you can think it, you can do it. But if you think you can't do it, the truth is you'll be right either way. You think you can do it, you'll be right. If you think you can't do it, you'll be right. But I'm always focusing on, I think I can do this. I think I can do this. And sometimes I create chaos along the way because I think I can do a lot of things. And some people are going, no, you can't. No, you can't. Yes, I can. But you know what? When we have passion and purpose and will behind us, the universe moves. It bends around us. We create our dreams. So if you want your dreams, you have to become more purposeful and more willful. And also, I believe that we all have to tap into that superconscious mind. Because if we don't tap into the superconscious, we're playing at the level of mind. We have to play at the level of, or play at the level of our brain, I guess I'll use it that way. If you're playing at the level of your conscious and subconscious thoughts, your greatest thinking won't change anything for you. You have to play at a different level. So how do we tap into the superconscious mind? Well, I talk about that in every show. We meditate, we calm down, we quiet. And again, you can get information on meditation on my site at kendfoster.com. So another key for me is always persistence. And I'm relentless in whatever I do. I'm just relentless. I just do it. This book here, The Courage to Change Everything, this is my 7th book. This book took 6 years to write. I was just persistent every day, writing a little bit. Right, I rewrote it 3 times and I didn't like it. Came from my ego too much the first time. Second time it got a little better. Third time I felt like it was messages of truth just flowing through me. So I'm persistent and relentless in whatever I do. I hope you are too. And you've got to tune into that other place. I make a lot of mistakes. How about you? You make any? I bet you do. I'm forgiving myself all the time. I believe you have to forgive to tune into that giving power. If we can't forgive, we can't give, right? If you're upset with somebody, you're not going to give them anything. You're just going to remain upset. And it's probably going to hurt you more than it hurts them. I know I've been there so many times. I had to learn that lesson over and over again. Listen, there's nothing to be upset about. It's all good. It's all flowing. I may choose to distance myself from somebody for a while, but ultimately I've got to let it go because forgiveness helps me open the blocks that stop the energy from flowing, the passion, the power through my life. So maybe there's something there for you. There's greatness in all of us. There's greatness in you. But you also have to let go of the inner critic. That inner critic will stop me. It stops everybody. It tells you I'm not enough. This will never happen. It's cost too much. I'm too old. I'm too young. Whatever it is. That inner critic's always there. That inner critic is only there to say thank you so much. The inner critic is really fear. It's a fear voice, the voice of fear. And sometimes, we have to pay attention to, what's going on in our environments, what's going on in our relationships, what have you. And if there's some fears coming up, we have to pay attention to that. But most of those fears are false, and we need to, my experience, we need to move past them and overcome any fear that is stopping us. So, and I talked about that in the last segment, so I'm not going to go into that. But, when you're in touch with yourself, when you're tuned in to your passion, your purpose, your power, your spirit, what happens is life gets better and better. It just does. So if you want to find out a little bit more about me, I encourage you to go to kendfoster.com. And if you are an author, speaker, I've given you a website that if you want to become a best-selling author, you can go to couragetochange.us/invite. There's free classes up there for you, couragetochange.com/invite, INVITE. So I hope you'll take me up on some of those offers, and I hope to see you soon and connect with you. And thank you so much for letting everybody know about this show. It really makes a difference, and I'm so passionate about helping those that really want to help themselves to get to the next level. So help me spread the word. Yeah. Thanks so much. Take care.
Thanks for joining us for Voices of Courage with Ken D. Foster. Learn more about Ken, how to be a guest on the show, and sponsorship opportunities by visiting voicesofcourage.us. And we're always interested in what you have to say. So follow Ken on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or email your questions and comments to viewer@voicesofcourage.us. Also, you can find all of Ken's previous shows by visiting voicesofcourage.us. Be sure to join us next time as Ken brings more stories of courage that will inspire greatness within you and change your life for the better. Until next time, live courageously and see the unseeable, know the unknowable, and do the impossible. This has been Voices of Courage with Ken D. Foster.
AM/FM 247, the best in talk and music all day and every day.